have something to drink. Oh, we're live, guys. What's up, guys? What is up, man? Welcome back to another episode of Deck Talk Podcast, and we've got one heck of a show. We got a good buddy of ours that is come on. Our schedule's finally lined up to where we can get him on, and I tell you guys, this guy. Oh, my volume on my phone. This guy who we have on is going to be somebody you're going to want to watch here, especially in the near future and on. He's got a fishing career that has started off with a bang, and it's just getting better. But guys, if you don't know, I am Colin Burnett.
That's right, Colin, and I'm Norman Lee. Yeah, spot on, Colin. We have an awesome show now. We've been looking forward to this one for a while, but once again, we have to talk about one of the sponsors for tonight's episode. This episode tonight is brought to you by Bruiser Baits. Baits made for fishermen by fishermen, family owned and operated. They continuously strive to produce the best premium quality baits that are proven to put fish in your boat day in and day out, helping the beginner angler catch more fish and this season tournament angler put more cash in his pocket. From soft plastics to jerk baits, crankbaits, flat out tungsten weights, apparel, and a whole lot more. Fish the best baits made right here in the USA. Check out their full selection of baits, tackle, apparel, and accessories at www.bruiserbaits.com. Don't forget, when you go to the website, make sure at checkout, use our discount code DECKTALK10. Once again, that is bruiserbaits.com. And don't forget, use our discount code at checkout, DECKTALK10. Man, Colin, we have one heck of a show tonight. And let's just get started introducing this cool cat here.
Let's get it.
Let's get it on, man. Let's get it on. Give him a proper introduction. Since making the move to the pro circuit, our guest tonight has 5 top 10s, including a win on Dale Hollow Lake in 2022. He is coming off his best season as a pro, where he cashed a check in every event this year. In his young but stellar career, he is just shy of eclipsing the $200,000 career earnings mark. The king of Kingsport, Tennessee, Jack Daniels.
How y'all doing? I'm glad to be here, guys. What's going on, guys? That was an introduction.
How you doing, brother?
Never had one like that.
Yeah, Norman does pretty good on them things.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
He works hard on it.
Kingsport, Tennessee.
Yes, sir.
I'd say many people they don't know where that's at.
No, but you are the king of there.
But guys, this is old Jack Daniels Williams. He's a good buddy of ours, and he is a hammer. Not just in bass fishing and crappie fishing. I mean, he's a stud. I mean, we do want to say thanks to him though for coming on. But we done a autism angler event to raise money and also some fishing gear and stuff like that, to where we donated I think it was like over 40 rods that we had donated. Norman filled up the back of the bed of his truck with rods and fishing gear, and also had some cash and stuff that we had from the donations as well. But Jack's the guy we had a fish fry, and old Jack supplied the crappie for us. So we just made a phone call, and he says, "I got you some crappie," and he said, "Just let me know when you need it, and it's yours." So Jack, thank you, man.
Jack showed up in the driveway, and he had I think it was like a 36 or 50 quart cooler, and it was chucked to the top.
That's awesome. Yeah, that was awesome. I'm glad I could help. That's for sure.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So Jamie Jones says, "What's up, guys? What's up, Jamie?"
And shout out
What's
to
up?
Jamie Jones too, because Jamie Jones had a big part of that event we just talked about with Odds-On.
Jamie cooked all the crappie.
Yes,
Jamie cooked all the crappie, and another shout out to another buddy of ours. He also donated a portion of the crappie as well, which is Josh Antoine, which is a local guide as well. So he donated some crappie as well. So shout out to them guys as well.
Heck yeah.
But Jack, let's talk a little bit about how did you get started into fishing?
Oh my goodness. I'll tell you what, my dad, I had a great dad. Ever since I could remember, he fished local night tournament derbies. He had me in the boat ever since I could remember. So definitely my dad, starting me out, getting me into bass fishing. We used to crappie fish. We used to catch fish to eat. You know what I mean? So nothing went back. And when I got a little older, he started taking me in those little night tournaments and introducing me into the sport of bass fishing, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
But before that, I was just a eat all you can catch. So,
that's I think that's how a majority of us got started is with our dad or our grandparents and stuff like that. And
yes, sir. Yeah.
I mean, my granddaddy had a saying: "If it had eyes, it can eat." So
that's right. That's exactly right.
When your dad first started, he taking you to little night shootouts and stuff like that. Were you pretty much hooked on tournament fishing immediately? I mean, did you get the bug instantly once you got your first taste of tournament fishing?
I feel like I did. I was so young. I would say the first time I can remember that. So it's kind of a funny story. I know we're on here talking, but we got plenty of time.
Oh yeah, we got plenty of time.
So I was younger. I was probably from 6, I would say, and on. But before I had my driver's license, I was 13, and I used to go play bingo with my grandma. This is full on bingo. You win money, and I won $1,500. I don't even remember how much it was, but I went and bought a bass tracker, a little 91 bass tracker. And my grandma and my dad and my mom, we lived real close to a lake. They did, my grandparents. So they would drop me off during the summer every day, just leave me on the lake all day. That's when I was 13 years old, 12, 13. And that's when I kind of started falling in love with competition, because they'd have a Friday night derby and stuff, and I would stay and fish those. So that's probably when I fell in love with it.
Yeah, I can remember my first tournament, and I went there not knowing what to expect. A buddy of mine got me into doing it. He talked me into it, and but it's something about that blast off and just just going is phenomenal. And from that first blast off, we had an 80s, late 80s little Astro glass is what he was fishing out of.
Yeah.
And I think it had a Johnson 110 on it, and all these other boats were plowing past us, and we were just down there just hammered down, and we had fun. And that's when I got hooked into tournament, and I was like, man, this is something else. And so
I can remember the first check. I still can remember getting it was $20, but my dad was fishing against me in the tournament, and I was leading, and then someone had weighed in more, so I fell down to second, and then my dad was holding his fish, so he went and weighed in, and he ended up winning the tournament, and I got third, but he wasn't going to weigh in, and unless I was getting beat. So it's pretty funny story.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's I've never got to fish a tournament with my dad.
Yeah.
And maybe that's something that we can do here this next next summer. But he loves getting out there and just throwing a Texas rig. It don't matter. Right. It don't matter where we're at. He's gonna take his little spinning rod and just chunk a Texas rig.
Yeah. Colin, and the problem we have with your dad when he's on the boat with you and me is all he's throwing is a Texas rig, and a lot of times he kicks our butt, and we have about 30 rods apiece laying on the deck next to us, all tied up differently.
That's my dad. He's always kicking my butt.
And it's crazy though. he doesn't do nothing but just slow reel a Texas rig, and it doesn't matter if it's a Senko or a crawl. He's just slow reeling it, and I'm like, let it get to the bottom and just jig it up and down, and he'll.
And
All right, and then the next thing you know, he's just still slow reeling. He doesn't.
I was gonna say, as Colin's telling him that he's setting the hook. Here's another one. Get the net.
Yeah, catching them. That's right. Yeah. That's funny.
So starting out, you started out just kind of getting stuff for fish to eat, and then got a little taste of that tournament.
Oh yeah.
And so when was it that you decided, like, all right, I want to make that next step up to where I enjoy these local tournaments, but let's go after some of these big boys out here, and let's try making a living off of it.
Yeah. So right up, that time when I was learning, 13 to all through high school, I played baseball as well. So it took a lot of my time, playing baseball, but
right.
From that time, I was watching Iaconelli and all those guys. You see them on TV, ESPN, so that kind of helped too. Knowing, I always knew I wanted to do it. When it got into my mind, I was like, man, I want to do this for the rest of my life. I just didn't know how I was going to get there at that time yet. So after high school, I went to a little community college, got 2 years. And then I went to work for Baker's Construction. They're local to our house. It's a big construction company. Saved all my money up, and then I ended up jumping in the Toyotas. I think it was 2020, my first year. 2021, I can't remember.
Right.
My dad ended up getting sick, but anyways, that's the reason I kind of went, is because I wanted to see my dad to see me, go try to do that. And it kind of like kick-started it. I probably would have still be working, if my dad hadn't have got sick, and it just kind of scared us a little bit, but I'm glad everything worked out. And the Dale Hollow tournament was actually the first tournament he was able to come to.
Oh, that is awesome.
I'm sure if you go back and watch the weigh-in, I'm bawling my eyes out,
Yeah.
And everyone thinks I'm bawling because I won, but it was really because, Dad was standing out there getting to watch me weigh in. Cool. So, yeah, it was cool.
I'll tell you, and I don't know if I told you this, Jack, but the first time, like, I was watching online, I was watching the MLF tournament, and I seen somebody them call you up, and I'm like, all right, I didn't know, because I never heard about you or anything like that, and you had on a hat that said Jack, and I was like, man, this kid right here, because I couldn't see the S.
Yeah.
And then I was like, this kid's a little arrogant. I mean, he's just like out there just talking. I mean, he wants you to know who Jack is. and then they showed when you held up the fish and stuff like that, I was able to see Jack's bait and tackle, and I was like, hey,
Kim.
Yeah, that's Kim.
Yeah.
So I was like,
I'm so thankful for her. She helped me in so many ways. So
but yeah,
she's a good woman.
Oh yeah, we love her to death. I do too. She helps us out. I mean, that's one lady there. I mean, even Chuck. I mean, they do so much for the fishing community here in Chattanooga.
Yes,
and I mean, you wouldn't have a business for 60 years anywhere if you don't treat your people right. So, and they definitely do. Yeah. But yeah, that was my first experience of seeing Jack, guys. I was like, man, this he's arrogant. He wants you to know who he is. and then I seen that it was Jack's, and then we got to meet you.
Yeah, that was cool.
And then and then I was like, man, this guy's just like us. He's just laid back country guy.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Just loves talking about fishing. So
that's right.
But yeah, we can't say enough like how proud that we are to say that you're a friend, and to see how well, especially this past year, you really put the hammer down. I'm ready to see what next year is going to hold for you.
I hope so. Yeah.
Have
Just keep
they
trying.
have they released a tournament schedule for next year?
They have, yeah. They did it while I was fishing. I'm trying to think where I was. St. Lawrence, maybe.
Right.
I think they released one. It's looking like a pretty good schedule. I got it. I think we go back to Champlain.
Right.
No, hold on. Let me make sure. We start out at Kissimmee, and then we go to Hartwell, Smith, Pickwick, James. We go back to St. Lawrence. I'm sorry.
Right.
And then they added a championship next year. So, that's something that I wanted. I wanted a championship because it's hard to fish all year long, and you do so good, but you have nothing to fish for at the
Yeah.
end of the year.
No,
So
yeah,
they brought that back, and that'll be at La Crosse,
yeah,
Mississippi River, which I enjoyed it when we went there.
yeah. Now
last year.
now the championship is a non-points tournament too. You
Yes, sir.
accumulate
It's
your
all
points in the regular
no
season.
entry fee. Yeah, I think top 50 make it. So
Cool.
it was a good. I think it's a good thing they did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, what? So, because we do a lot of stuff with bass, so I'm more into knowing like what bass, and we just now started here this past year, got in with MLF and doing the media and stuff with the MLF and the Bass Pro Tour. Now, is there's like if you ranks or if you win a tournament next year, does that qualify you for the Red Crest for
It
the
does.
following?
Yes, sir.
Oh
Yes,
man,
it
that
does.
would be
Yeah.
and that would have been something. I mean, if you could have got, especially next year, it's going to be
Gunners.
practically in our backyard.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that would. I'd like to see how many people's going to be throwing a frog in
I
March.
guarantee it. Yeah, guarantee it.
So, but what is your fishing goals? And like, where do you see yourself in like a 5 to 10 year round? Where does Jack want to be in 5 to 10 years?
I definitely want to be on like the BPT format, the schedule. This year, I mean, I set a goal. I'm not. Of course, you want to win every single tournament. I go into every single tournament, and I usually, have a plan. I want to win, but you got to be realistic sometimes too. And for a realistic thing for me, not being everywhere, all these bodies of water, I'm just learning kind of. I wanted to get a check in every single event so I could continue to try to do this. And we did that this year, and then next year I'm kind of wanting to like get into the cut at every single event.
Right.
I barely miss it, on most of them, but some of them I had some 48s, 49 finishes, but I was just blessed to get a check. It was one of those where you're like, oh my goodness. There was one event I weighed in 4 fish the last day, and I was super blessed. Super blessed to get one.
So how do you think that you will do? Will it be a big change? I guess it's a 2-part question. Like, how do you think that you will do in the BPT with pretty much every fish counts compared to where you catch a 5 fish limit?
It's hard to say. I like the idea of the BPT, but I've never been in that format. I kind of practice for it at every event, if that makes sense. Like I'll go ahead and see, how my practice or how my tournaments are going. And it seems like I like the number deal better for some reason. I don't know. It kind of fits my way of fishing, I guess you would say, at this point. But it's hard to say because, I grew up fishing for 5 fish all my whole life, like we all did. We all have grown up fishing for 5 bites. But it kind of changed. It's just a little change. You just change the way you fish, I guess, just to tweak it a little bit.
Yeah. And as a tournament angler too, Jack, there's nothing like walking across the stage, with 5 big ones to hold up. And me and Colin asked a lot of the Bass Pro Tour competitors that same question, and most all of them will tell you that they like the Bass Pro Tour format because the fish conservation end of it, where they're actually being able to release the fish after they weigh it instead of hauling them around to the live well worrying about the health of the fish. But they'll also say in the same sentence, there's nothing like walking across that stage with 28 pounds of bass to hold up too. And they never show them off. So.
Yeah. And so they kind of to go back of what you were saying earlier, or just a few minutes ago, Jack, was how this year your goal was to make a check every tournament.
Yes, sir.
And Chris Lane, when we had him on, he kind of talked about that, and he said there's some tournaments that you, soon as you go into practice and you get done with practice, you're like, all right, man, I have a shot to, I'm going
Yes,
to go
sir.
for it. I have a shot to win this. I've got the fish. And he said, but then there's some tournaments that he's like, I'm just going out there to get as many fish as I can to make points.
Exactly.
And
yeah.
so I think that's kind of like what you was talking about, right? Just
Yep.
to kind of make sure that I don't have a tournament slip by me that I'm not getting as many points as I can get.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah, and that's like, like I said, I have to make money to get. You don't ever
Yeah.
make money in this sport, you
Yeah.
you can try to almost break even. That's kind of how I put it. So if I can break even and learn at these new bodies of water, then I think that's a win for me.
Yeah.
Just being familiar with these new bodies and stuff.
Yeah. We had Iconelli was on, and he said if you want to be a millionaire in this sport, he says you need to start out with 100 million.
If you want to make $1 million, start with $1 million. So
but man, were you looking when you had that schedule drop to you? Were you hoping that there's going to say Dale Hollow on that sucker?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure there was a lot of people that wanted to see Dale Hollow on there. It's funny that everyone asked me that, and it's like I don't fish there a lot. It's weird because it's still quite a ways from Kingsport. It's like 5 hours or something. It's crazy to think about. It was just meant to be, because I've learned so much since then, and I look back on it and I'm like, how the heck did I even catch some? Like how did I even catch them there?
Right. Now, do you prefer to fish like a Highland reservoir like Dale Hollow?
Yeah, I mean that's where I grew. I grew up fishing Highland, so
Right.
yeah, I would love to fish all Highland reservoirs if we could. But
right, because right around you, what you have Cherokee.
We have South Holston, Watauga. Yeah. The BFLs go to South Holston. Watauga Lakes. I mean, it's super good.
Right.
But
so
a lot of people don't know about that, so it's probably shouldn't be saying anything. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But they set up just like Dale Hollow, dude. I mean, it's crazy. I felt so at home, when I got on Dale, because I'd never been on it prior to that week.
Yeah.
I gave myself 2 days of practice because I jumped in Okeechobee and Gunnersville and absolutely bombed those 2 tournaments. And I was like, what in the world am I doing here? I'm wasting a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And then got in Dale. It all worked out. It was by the way it's supposed to, It's crazy.
Yeah, the good Lord has his plan for you. And,
he does, that's for sure.
And you just gotta be patient and allow him to work it out for you.
Oh yeah.
But man, I know
I'm river fishing, I grew up river fishing mostly.
Right. And see, that's how I grew up was river fishing.
Yeah.
And so going to a Highland reservoir, just to be plain out honest with you, I mean, it kicks my butt. Especially if it's a deep, clear water. It kicks my rear end. Yeah. And I'm like, I can see these fish. I know I know they're there, and it just wears me out. But
we're lucky, where I'm from. We got so many options because Douglas was in its prime.
Yeah.
Back when cranking a 6XD, find them on ledges, and then we had Cherokee, which is completely different, smallmouth.
Yeah.
And you can go up in the river and flip a jig, But a good thing about my dad is he's strictly a flipper and a power fisherman, and then I met some buddies, Matthew and Gary Hobbs. They were like hammers on the South Holston and Watauga, Highland reservoirs, and they taught me a lot about how to catch smallmouth and how to catch largemouth in that deep, clear water,
Yeah.
So when I was young, I was getting a lot of good people's help, back home, a lot of hammers. So it all goes out to them,
Yeah, and that's that's one thing that I've seen talking to different anglers and stuff that is making fishing as a living, that they always say is that there's always been a couple people, at least one person that kind of took them under their wing and kind of said, "Hey, this is how you do it right here. This is
Yeah.
what you need to do."
Yeah.
So I mean, it is very important to
Yeah,
be able
yeah.
to have that. I mean, because trying to learn it all by yourself, I mean, which YouTube makes it a whole lot easier nowadays. Instead of when we were growing up, we kind of you had to have somebody or learn it yourself. So
Yeah, no one's
but-
gonna tell you. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
yeah.
How
So-
many tidal fisheries have you went to so far on tour? Have you fished many tidal bodies of water yet, or?
I fished
Or not?
Potomac. I did. I did well at Potomac last year. I got to check in it.
Right.
I'm trying to think if I've fished any more. I got to go to James. I think it's a title too.
Yeah.
But I think Potomac's the only one. But so I live on a little lake back home that it's a small lake. You know how TVA. This
Yeah.
lake is like made for flood control.
Oh, yeah.
So like it's literally going up and down 4 feet every single day. So
Yeah.
like it helped me on the Potomac living on
Right.
my little
that's
lake.
cool.
It's called Patrick Henry, but
Oh, nice.
because they bite only when they're generating water, so it's pretty cool to it kind of made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went by. Speaking of dropping water, Chick is already starting to drop water.
I heard that. Yeah.
So I think it's down 1.5 2 foot since when I go Wednesday, since I went Wednesday. So yesterday morning.
How far do they drop Chick and what's far?
They'll drop it about 8 feet.
8 feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Those
Yeah,
back home like 30 feet is what they drop them back home. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah. That's how you find your summer holes right there. You go out there in the winter.
Yeah. Yeah, just
what we
stroll
always do.
around and be like, there's one right there.
Yeah.
So, what is there? Is there a place that that you want to go and fish, or you hope that? I mean, we know Del Hollow, but is there another lake or fishery that you would want the MLF to go to where just maybe not the fact that you think that you're going to win, but just for the fact of just having the experience to go and actually fish it.
Yeah, so like I am so tired of like slugfest. You know what I mean? Like I like a grinder tournament where everybody's like, "This is going to be terrible." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But place that I would like to go back, not because it wasn't terrible. It was just a grind, and I love this kind. Is West Point Lake in Georgia. That was a fun tournament for me. I think I finished 12th, and I had an opportunity. I didn't have an opportunity to win, but it was just brought me back to my roots because I think, I weighed in some flipping, I weighed in some shaky head. It was just all around junk fest is what it was, and it was cool.
Yeah. So that I hadn't ever fished there, but
it's right above Eufaula, I think. Yeah, because we fished Eufaula a month later. So
do you like how the scheduling is with MLF, or do you wish that they would have more tournaments, or kind of even spread them out farther into to where? Because at the beginning of the year, it's always all right. The first couple tournaments, it's just it's going to be a bed fest, and. To me, I think I would like to see that the kind of to hit more into where it's a fall transition, to be able to see the anglers hit a fall transition instead of early spring and go into midsummer. Is there what do you think on that?
I like the schedule. I like the way MLF does it. I mean, I feel like every league that you have, they kind of have like a standard of where they go. There's always going to be. I don't like that necessarily, but I feel like there's nothing we can do. But the good thing about MLF is like Toyotas, BFLs, they kind of make it. Not all of them line up, so they make it where you can jump in some Toyotas or some BFL.
Right.
That's what I like about MLF. There's so many options,
Yeah, and it's almost, if you really wanted to, you can almost go from March till the end of summer. I mean, even till like right now um, and go. And almost every week you could hit something that MLF has got going on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt. It's crazy how many tournaments they put on, and those people those guys and girls work so hard. You know, they're on the road just as much as us because I think the Toyota, I know Mark McGraw and Ramey and all those guys, they're always following us around. So it's pretty cool.
Right.
It's like one big family, you know.
Yeah.
If I ever had to leave, I'd miss them for sure.
Now, I don't know if you've been following the team series, but now they got the fall. You know, after the season is over with, now they got the fall team series going on. They've already had one.
Mhm.
I think they're in the middle of the second event now, and that's actually pretty cool to watch.
That was fun to watch. I watched some clips and stuff from it.
A lot of the anglers that's teamed up together has never been on the boat together fishing, with the exception of a few. So it's kind of fun to kind of watch the camaraderie two anglers have that typically competes against each other. Now they're on the same boat as a team fishing with each other. So it's kind of it's cool neat to watch. Yeah.
And it kind of helps, you know, like put things in perspective for guys that, you know, they're not fishing on tour or whatever, you know, nationally, because this is what we do every weekend, you know. That's what everyone asks, like, what do you do for fun? I'm like, I go fish night tournaments. I hardly ever daytime fish, you know, because it was always from 7 to 7 or 7 to 3 or you know, crazy hours.
So, is there a technique that, let's say you have to go, you got 30 minutes to go left and you have to catch a fish?
Yeah.
What technique are you going to be able to go catch that one fish?
I'm flipping a jig every time. I leave myself like 30 minutes every single day of it. It doesn't matter where I'm at. I'll find a dock or I'll find a bank with some brush and I'll just go flip a jig. Like it's fun.
Now, do you have a favorite type of cover that you like to flip jigs into, whether it be a dock or?
Yeah, I like skipping docks, but I love flipping like anything close, like lay downs.
Yeah.
That's all I grew up doing, you know, skipping under trees, bluffs. We have a lot of bluffs back home, and I love skipping a jig as far as you can back in like a crack of a rock or something, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Smallmouth.
Skip it all the way up under there, and as soon as it starts dropping, you see your line jump about a foot off the water.
Oh, my gosh.
It's game on, right?
There's nothing better. 20-pound fluoro and just winch them in.
Yeah. You know what? Having a great conversation with old Jack Daniels Williams, but we have to take about a 30-second break to talk about another sponsor for tonight's episode.
Thank you.
Cornfield Fishing Gear, offering electronic mounting brackets you can trust, rock solid engineering, safe and secure, giving you a peace of mind knowing you can focus more on fishing and less about the security of your investment. Whether you're running single units or double units from the console to the bow, they have the brackets that will suit your fishing style. Fully adjustable mountain brackets made, produced, and manufactured in the USA. For more information on Cornfield Fishing Gear, contact us on our Deck Talk Podcast website at www.decktalkpodcast.com.
Heck yeah. So, I'm trying to think. I mean, you over here talking about skipping docks and flipping some downfalls. I mean, that's my bread and butter. If I had a choice, I'm staying within 12 feet and shallower. That's what I look for. Yeah. And there's nothing like what you're saying. Skipping it up, you know. I mean, when you skip up underneath that dock and like what you're saying, back up into that little crack or something like that, and you know, oh man, as soon as it hits, you're like, oh, I'm about to.
Yeah.
You better just hold on.
He's either going to break off or he's coming in.
Yeah. And that's like when there's been multiple times that I flipped into a downfall or something like that, and I tell Norman or my dad, I'm like, hey, I don't know how I'm getting this sucker out of here, but you just watch the show.
Yeah, that's right. My dad always told me to look for spider webs.
Yeah,
he said because no one else has been throwing back in
there. Yeah, and you know, Jack, you probably grew up kind of similar to like the rest of us, really banging banks,
Oh
fishing stuff we could see.
Oh yeah.
Uh, in today's day and age, with the day of lifetime fish finder stuff like that,
Hmm.
would you rather be still banging the bank, or what do you prefer, offshore today, or
Man,
still
I just
up
like catching
close and
them.
personal?
You know what I mean?
You don't care
I
as long as you're
I
putting
just
them in the boat, it doesn't
love
make a
catching.
difference.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's nothing better than flipping to me, because I don't know, it does something to me every time I catch one
Yeah,
flipping or I feel one hit.
yeah.
I'm not necessarily sure what it does, but it drives me crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I can't control myself. So if I had a choice, I would go flipping every single day. But
Yeah.
to make money in today's world, you got to kind of do different things now.
Yeah, you have to
Gotta be
expand.
versatile. Gotta
Yeah.
be versatile.
Yeah.
So, what was it like? I mean, we hit Dale Hollow a little bit, but I want to know, like, when you come in at Dale Hollow,
Hmm.
did you know that you had the bag to win, or was it as soon as you knew the scale? Because we ask everybody that has won and stuff, because
Yeah.
a lot of us, we will never know with being on that big stage, like what it's like to win an event like that. So I try to see how their emotions, and you said something that your dad was there, so
Oh
we
yeah.
know the emotions were real. I mean, it was through the roof.
And my dad was a nervous wreck. He was already doing math and doing. My uncle was there. My uncle Chris was there. My Daisy was there. My mom was. She was working. She was on the phone with dad. But I had 21-6, 21-7, and 21-13. So like after I got 21-13, I think I came in like 5 minutes early, which is kind of that's I don't ever do that. But
Right.
I told my co, I was like, we probably need to go because I've done everything I possibly can. And the good thing is no one knew who I was at that time. There's not one single picture. I think the only picture they got of me was me catching a 327 black crappie. Because like they came with me that morning, and I told my co, I was like, this is the biggest crappie I've ever seen in my life. And it was sitting over like 50 foot of water, suspended in like three. And I picked my crappie rod up, my ACC, threw it over there, and hooked him on, and they got him netting it, and I was holding the crappie up, and I was like, can I put that in the live well? And they're like, I probably wouldn't risk none of that. So I
Yeah.
was wanting to mount it and do all this. But
Now, were you leading that event going into day three,
no,
or
I'm trying to think. I think I was like in seventh, and then
okay?
third,
So
and then
you were sitting in the hot seat and had to wait in the hot seat until a few anglers weighed in until the last two was standing on stage.
I think
Now,
I was in third the final day, going into the final day. So I had
I
to wait
got
for
you.
two people.
So when you and the last two anglers, yourself and the last guy to weigh in, when you both were standing on stage waiting to weigh the fish, did you know before you weighed your fish, or did you kind of have an idea that you had them beat, or
So
you
when
didn't know until
in
the
the
scales
toy,
hit?
like in the Toyotas and Invitationals, you line up. There's only like 25 or 30 guys, so you line up on the bank, and it was 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down to 25.
Right.
So I was right within length of them. They looked at me and they're like, "Do you have them?" I was like, "I got them pretty good," And I was like, "How about you?" And they were like, "No, we didn't get them today." So I kind of had an idea, but then I started, the emotions started coming, so I was like, I'm not even gonna ask any more questions. I almost started crying right then.
Yeah.
So let's I want to turn from bass fishing, Jack, and talk about some crappie fishing.
Oh yeah.
But before I talk about crappie fishing, you're actually waiting by the mailbox for the next couple of days to be able to get your captain's license.
Yes, sir. Yep, it's coming.
And so that's exciting,
Yes, sir.
in which we talked earlier and about it, and I'm waiting for the day that I could say that I'm waiting on it, because I'm
Heck
going through
yeah.
the process, and
Yeah, anyone who's been through the process knows it's not. It's pretty hard to get. So.
yeah. So congratulations on that, and
Appreciate it.
uh, so with that, when you start guiding and stuff, we know that also, I mean, like with bass and crappie and stuff like that. But what else, like, are you, uh, are you also going to be like, let's say somebody has a hummingbird or ants or whatever,
Yes,
any
sir.
kind
Yeah.
of units, are you doing also to where you can say, hey, this is what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
This is how you need to read. This is what you're looking for. And if you're wanting to also learn a little bit about forward facing sonar, are you actually doing that as well besides fishing and catching
Yes,
bass and
sir.
crappie
Yeah.
and stuff? So,
Yeah, that's something that I planned on doing quite a bit of. Hopefully, if anyone wants to go out with me, but
yeah,
I wanted to help everyone learn. Try to learn as much as I can. I've so far. I need to get on social media. I've got so many videos I want to post about how to present a bait to a crappie or to a bass. I'm getting on that. I promise. Swear to it. But I'm going to try to. Yeah. If anyone wants to go out and any kind of electronics, I've used almost all of them. I'm not so familiar on the Mega Live stuff,
yeah,
but I've used all the forward facing stuff you can have, all the side imaging, mapping as well. So I
yeah,
know there's a lot of questions. It's overwhelming to a lot of people. I was lucky enough to, well, I'm lucky enough to have enough time to study it every day. So
right.
that's one thing, blessed to be able to do that. And I just want to kind of help everybody,
Well, and
expand
it
their
helps,
knowledge.
right? And it helps out though because to be able to have like a platform like this and be able to talk about forward facing sonar, it doesn't really do its justice
No.
until you could actually get out in the boat with you
Yeah.
and have that one on one to where, because you can say, hey, I'm looking for this. This is what I'm kind of looking for, but
Yeah.
people might have in their mind about, all right, that's what he's looking for, but until they actually see it on the
Oh, yeah.
screen,
Yeah.
it's a total different ball game.
Yeah. Like, there's no one thing I've learned, when I started out doing it, there's no video out there that can honestly show you what you need to do. You have to be
No.
with somebody or you have to like do it yourself. I mean, you're still going to have to end up doing a lot of it and learning how you can learn it on your own. But having someone there that spends a lot of time on the water and is right next to you is going to be, it's going to be the deal for forward facing. I actually have a setup on my boat now. They'll have their own screen and their own foot pedal, so they'll get the feel
Nice.
for it. And I'll have one on my trolling motor as well. But there's another setup up there so they get their own feel and learn how to do both.
Yeah, and I have not heard anybody else to give them control over
Yeah.
to where they can look at it as well. Um,
Yeah.
that right there, that's a game changer. I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
because that's
That's a sneak peek there.
yeah,
No one heard that yet, so
yeah,
Yeah.
no.
only on here.
But so how? Let's say, when are you expecting to be able to start guiding? I know you said a couple days. You're
Yeah,
supposed
as
to
soon
be
as I
getting
get it in, I've
start
already got some guys
advertising.
lined up. Yeah, I'm gonna start. I already got some guys lined up for whenever I get it, but I'll advertise it as soon as I get it in my hands because I don't want to,
Well, let us know as soon as you get it,
Yep.
and we'll advertise it and we'll
Yep.
put it on our
We'll blast
our
it on all of
website
our
and
social
stuff like
networks.
that. So,
Yes, sir. Yeah, I want
uh,
to. There's so much stuff going on about it. I said I wasn't going to talk about any of the crazy world right now, but I just want to kind of like let people understand it's not just going out there and they just jump in your boat. It's crazy the amount of time and practice these guys have had to do.
Yeah.
To be able
Well,
to
the
catch
thing
fish on it.
when they get when and which with talking to you and all the other anglers that we get the privilege to talk to, it's and they all say the same thing. You put it on just like what you just said. Just because you put it on your boat, don't mean you're catching them.
No, yeah.
Because how many times have you seen you drop that bait right there on there, right to them? They're trailing that bait.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
even nosing up, and then next thing you know, they're swimming off. And
and see, like we've been. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Colin.
no, you're good. You're good.
But like, I wanted to kind of make a point. Cherokee Lake. You remember when the bass elites went to Cherokee and dropped
Yeah.
on 2D?
Yep.
So like that's been a part of East Tennessee, like Upper East Tennessee, where I'm from. We've been dropping on fish for, I mean, I don't know how long. I mean,
Right.
we've been using electronics on 2D, but now, today, right now, if I go out to the same areas, they'll come up there, they'll go right back down. They will not eat your bait on 2D. Like, so there's this whole stigma around it. These fish know they'll end up, it's all going to evolve into. So the people who stay on the water and it's like learn how to make these fish bite, they're going to
Yeah.
stay ahead.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I don't want to stay on the forward facing sonar subject too terribly long.
yeah.
I mean, because we're already getting questions or talking about it and stuff. But
Yeah.
The fish are adjusting already. Just in the short time frame, they're already adjusting to it. I've seen in just the time frame that I've had it on my boat, the year and a half that I've had it on my boat, they're already adjusting. I've seen to where it seemed like it was a little bit easier when I first got it to catch them on it.
Yep.
But,
Yes, sir. Yep.
But now it's kind of, I mean, the fish have been hooked. So
Yep.
they
And they live a lot longer than crappie. That's what I tell people. So
yeah.
crappie only live 4 years, and it's a great starting point to fish for crappie. So no matter how big a crappie can get, it's only going to live 4 years. So,
right.
And they're constantly, there's a lot more crappie in a body of water than there is bass. So it's a great starting point to learn how to cast, boat control, the whole 9 yards,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And what a lot of people don't realize too is with your forward facing sonar and your live fish electronics today, or your live real time fish electronics today, use them more or less they're being used as a teaching tool as well, because we're learning so much about how the fish live, how the fish react to different baits when you throw at them, where they are.
Yeah.
How many of us has fished down a bank for years and years, fished down the same bank, throwing at timber on the bank, not realizing that the majority of the fish we're trying to catch on the bank is either straight out in front of the boat or on the left hand side of you. We never cast to them otherwise.
No.
But I mean, it's more of a learning tool as well, where
It is.
We're learning a lot about how the fish live that we never knew before.
Exactly. Yep.
So off of forward facing sonar, I mean, which we talked, Jack, about it earlier. I mean, that's one subject that people can talk on, and they go crazy over forward facing sonar. But what are you doing? Let's say we're going to go out and let's do some crappie fishing for summertime.
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking for when you pull up on some crappie? Sorry, I was trying to read a message.
No, you're good.
Real quick.
I'm reading them now. I didn't realize I could read them. That's cool. Heck yeah, Jamie.
Yeah,
you're right, Jamie. And but what are you looking for when you're throwing crappie? And are you using a little lighter or heavier crappie jig when you're crappie fishing in the summertime than you are? Because I know, like during the winter, I'm usually throwing like a 1/32
Yep.
Crappie jig, trying to get it, and I probably have like 2-pound test line.
Yeah.
And so what are you looking for, and what kind of bait are you using for, like, let's say right now with the summer to end of going into fall transition?
Yeah. So I'm honestly worse crappie fishing than I am bass fishing. I probably have more rods out crappie fishing than I do bass fishing. But the summertime, they seem to be more finicky for some reason.
Yeah.
I use a 30-second a lot. I like to fish shallow a lot of times, but it seems like in the heat of summer, the cold of winter, they'll be a little deeper. And down here is somewhere like they don't get as deep as they would back home. I've caught them 40 and 50 foot back home, but
yeah.
we just don't have that much deep water down here, which is a good thing because it gets harder to catch them when they get deeper and on live scope. But yeah, 32nd and 16th, just a regular. Sometimes I'll bump it up. I'm fishing a little deeper, but not much. I like to fish real small. I could go on and on about this. I don't know how many people care, but there's a difference in black and white crappie. So your white crappie eat shad. They'll eat a bigger bait. Your black crappie, they're bug eaters. They eat smaller baits. There's just a lot of science behind it, and I'm thankful for Daisy's dad. I mean, he fished American Crappie Trail, and he fished a bunch
you
of
got another
professional.
hammer that's right there.
Oh yeah, he's a hammer. I'm very thankful for him because he's the one that kind of put my foot in the door towards live scope, because I started crappie fishing a little bit, and that opened up everything. I started thinking about stuff for bass, and he's a hammer on live scope, that's for sure.
So Brenton asked, how many lines can you run? I guess with crappie fishing.
In the tournament, I just single pole. They call it single poling or casting. A lot of the big crappie tournaments, they're using anywhere from a 12 to an 18-foot rod and dabbing it on them. But I do a lot of casting with a spinning reel. I don't.
Yeah.
It depends on kind of like water clarity and stuff like that. We have a lot of clear water. We don't have a lot of muddy water here, so you can't get close enough to them. 20 foot's about the max. So. Yeah. You have to hold a long rod all day, and that would be terrible.
And Brenton, to kind of clarify that question a little bit, if you're actually talking about bass tournaments, you're actually only allowed in any tournament, whether it's a club level tournament or the pro circuit, you're only allowed to have one rod and reel in your hand at a time. So one line ran at a time.
Yeah. I didn't realize if he was asking that. Or,
I don't know.
There's spider rigging as well. You can have.
Yeah. I mean, because if they're just out there just crappie fishing amongst buddies and stuff like that, or trying to fill up a live well to eat,
have as many as you want.
They're gonna have. I've seen them have 8 to 10 rods hanging off that sucker.
Yeah.
So, John Pate says, "What is your favorite line, and what pound test do you prefer
for anything?"
I
throw braid.
He's a bass fisherman.
Perfect.
And, well, he's down down close to the Everglades, so he is what they call the original king of the glades down in that area.
So he's a big braid guy.
Yeah. So he also and John, I think is it red line? I can't remember who makes it, but it's red. It's a red line.
Okay.
And I think he fishes with 20 pounds. And he was telling me, last time I was on the phone with him, he said, I need to go to Walmart. Walmart's the only place that carries it. He said, that's the best fishing line that you'll ever have. John, leave a comment, because I've got comments on that we have that you can see some of them, Jack, and then but a lot of them's also from my phone watching from. But John, tell us what kind of line that is that you use. But
I throw vicious braid a lot. I don't know if you've used any of it, but I like vicious braid.
How does it hold? I've never thrown it. How does it hold up? Because I throw a lot of the Seagar.
Okay. Yep. I throw fluoro Seagar.
Yeah, and I like how when I go to fluoro, I usually go to that K9 17 pounds, because that right there has I've pulled up logs.
Oh yeah, that stuff's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, so especially fishing in the up underneath docks and in the brush and the downfalls, I want something that I can trust to be able to get them out. And so how does that vicious line? Is it a thin?
It's like a vicious braid is what I throw. So it's a thinner diameter. I use 7 pound a lot for like anything light that I'm throwing, but 10 and 15 for like bass stuff.
Really.
Now, do you tie a fluoro leader in the clear lakes?
I do. Yes,
sir. Braid?
Yeah.
And do you
FG?
That's what I was about to ask.
Yeah.
And I got to learn how to tie that FG knot. and because the video when I first tried to see how to tie it, and it told me like how to like you got to hold the line and have tension on it with your foot and have one in your mouth and all
Yeah.
this and that, and I'm like. I tried tying it, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, this is gonna hold." And then I went to go hook set, and it didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't.
I saw somebody showed me how to do it. I'm trying to think who it was.
He
I
said
wrap it around my
17 pound test line Cajun red.
Cajun red.
Cajun
That's
red.
it.
I've heard of that. It's like catfish.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he
yeah.
says that's the best line that you can ever have. He says if you don't have it on there, you don't know what you're doing.
That's cool.
That's what he told me. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's I got to get me some of that and try it out. But do you know Caleb Bell, Jack?
I don't think so.
He's a local. He's a YouTuber, but he's
Okay.
also a guide
Uh-huh.
on Chick and Nickajack. And I went out with him last week. He ties an FG knot that he said that you don't even have to have tension on it. You can tie the FG, and I got to get him to show me how to do that.
Really? Yeah, that's cool.
So,
Need to see that.
but so with you guiding, what lakes are you primarily going to focus on with guiding?
Oh man, I'm gonna do Watts Bar and Chickamauga for sure for crappie.
Yeah.
I was thinking about going down to Nickajack a little bit. I've never been on Nickajack. I drove over it several times, but
Right.
yeah, Chickamauga, Watts Bar. I was thinking about throwing some little further out lakes around, but I don't know yet. You know,
Right.
some spotted bass lakes.
Yeah. Have you ever fished Parksville?
Yeah, I have. Yep.
So
Yep, I have.
that's one lake that I have a love-hate relationship with.
It's kind of like a Highland Reservoir, you know.
Yeah, it fishes very similar to a
Yeah.
Highland.
So yeah, we had some good success on last winter on there. So
With some good old spots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's some. I want to go back to Lanier. I mean, because they've got some monster spots in Lanier.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
That's
I got
like
yeah.
have you fished Lanier?
I did. I fished this past winter with my buddy Emil Wagner. I'm sure you've heard of him.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I fished with him there. So he was always on them there. I got lucky to fish with him.
Oh, here's a good question right here from Jamie. If you could make the same money fishing crappie tournaments as bass tournaments, which one would you do?
Oh, that's a tough one, man. Oh, Jamie, you got me on that one. I don't know. Probably crappie, to be honest.
So, how does a crappie tournament? How does it work? I mean, because I've never done a crappie tournament.
Well, they're going through that. They're going through a bunch of stuff too. You know, it's hard to get money in crappie tournaments for some reason, but I think that's going to change. You know, with technology and stuff like that, when people find out about it. But usually it's 7 fish. They changed it to 5. They changed it to numbers. There's all kinds of stuff you can fish, but majority of the time it's 7 biggest, and I mean, it's taken 21 pounds in 7. You know,
Wow.
Majority of places.
Whoa.
They fish down south. You know, so you're looking at a 3-pound average.
Yeah,
But
that's crazy.
Yeah, I fished the Alabama crappie trail I fished a couple of them this past winter. We went to the Alabama River. We got second in it, and then we went to Gunnersville and we did well in it as well. But the Alabama River was really good, and we had like 11 and 5. It was super good.
Yeah,
we had one day of practice and showed up and caught a bunch of 2-pounders. It was crazy. It's a big river, you know. It's cool.
I mean, even a 2-pound crappie is.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy. I couldn't imagine. How long was that 3 that you had? Did you measure it?
I didn't measure. I'm far behind on that. A lot of those guys measure them, but I would say it's close to 16. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh.
It'd have to be. I caught a 304 the other day on chick. It was a big hybrid. No,
Yeah.
that'd be like 3 or 4 that I've caught over 3 on chick now. So it's pretty special to catch them on chick like that.
Oh yeah. I like to me. I don't know why, but I love catching those magnolia crappies or
Yeah.
the black nose, what everybody calls them.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know what it. I guess it's just because it's so you don't catch them that often.
Yeah.
But
Well,
just to be
I
able
think-
to get into them.
I think they stalk those. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
And then once they get so, I think that once they get so, I may be telling you a dead lie. I'm not sure, but I think once they get old enough, I think that black nose goes away. I'm not
yeah.
sure though.
Really?
Maybe. Don't. Yeah, you have to fact check me on that. But
I'm sure somebody
Kevin will
will.
know. Yeah.
Somebody will.
But I'm almost 100% sure they stalk a black nose crappie. So
Man,
yeah.
that's
That's insane.
amazing.
Yeah.
And I know I'm waiting on the wintertime though. I mean,
Oh yeah.
because wintertime you can go to almost any dock and just be able to just slay. Just go.
Exactly.
You catch as many. You bring a clicker and you'll turn that clicker as fast as you want. That clicker won't even get out of your hand.
No, yeah, it's cool.
So,
It's cool.
but we've had you on here an hour, brother, and
Doesn't feel like it.
and that's what we tell people is like once we get talking and we go down so many rabbit holes, it's not even funny. We don't even get to talk about half the questions that we want to ask, and because we just kind of go with it. But
we'll be back on for sure.
yeah.
Oh,
So, and we need to get out on the boat and we'll do some filming. And I got some big cameras, and we've I got 2 drones, so we can do. If you want, we'll get out there, and you can be out in your boat, and I can get in mine or Norman's, and we'll fly the drone if you want to do something to have a little video advertisement for your guide service.
Shoot a promo for the guide service, and we'll
Heck
get
yeah.
out there, get some drone footage of you, and put a little promo out for you.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be great.
But so with that, I'm trying to think. Would you want to fish in a tournament that's in the Delta or at the Delta?
In the Delta.
California.
California.
Oh my goodness, yeah, I would. I have a buddy that lives out there. I met him, Jordan Collin. He lives out there, so yeah, he's told me all about it.
Yeah, I want to go out there and just throw a big glide bait. That's all I want to do. Just throw a big glide bait.
Yeah.
My arm will be dead after it.
Throw those 12-inch rainbow trout imitation baits that they throw for them giant bass up there. They got a lot of world record hunters up in California. That's all they do is go out trying to catch that world record bass, and they're throwing like 12, 14-inch rainbow trout imitation baits. I'm looking at them baits. They're as big as some of the bass we catch down here.
Yeah, you need to get him on and talk about it because he fishes. He's a straight hammer out there. He qualified through the Toyotas and made the pro circuit.
Yeah,
we haven't had anybody from California, so if you can help us get in contact,
no doubt, he's a good dude too.
Yeah.
He's just
That's
like
awesome.
us. Yeah.
Another quick question before we let you go. Let's see, where was it? It was on. I'm trying to figure out what has been the most exciting fish catch that you have ever caught.
Most exciting. Like what kind of fish?
Jason, what kind of fish?
Because there's I junk fish a lot. I don't. I fish for everything. You know, I caught some big paddlefish.
Oh man,
I'm trying to think. In a tournament standpoint, probably safe player.
Fun fishing, bass fishing.
Probably a few probably back home, I skipped a jig in a dock and caught like a 6.5 on a lake that doesn't have 6.5s in it. I
Yeah.
skipped it in there and I can't remember. Oh my goodness, that's one that sticks out. I still, it's weird how we can remember every fish catch we have, but we can't remember anything else.
Yeah, that's
My wife,
and the thing about
my wife reminds me of that every time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
She
and the
has me.
thing is like I could tell you, like when I caught my 10-2, I could
Mhm.
tell you the rod that I had in my hand. I could tell you the bait that I had, the line. I could
Oh
tell you
yeah,
everything. I could even tell you where I casted it.
exactly.
And but then like if you ask me something like just some random question that I
That I did
should know.
yesterday. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
No,
I'd be like, I don't know.
I have no idea. I don't remember that.
Yeah. My wife will ask me a question about did I do something she asked me to do a week ago, and I'm like, oh man, I'm sorry, baby, I forgot. I'll get it in right now. And she says, why do you remember where you were, what bait you were throwing 2 years ago when you caught that 5 pounder on
Yeah,
a certain stump, but you can't remember to do a simple little chore I asked you to do?
that's
Like, oh,
funny.
oh no.
Yeah. Another question is there? Let's see. Hold on. I gotta scroll back to it. Where is there a place that's out of the country that you would love to fish?
I want to go catch a peacock bass over in wherever they catch those.
Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil. Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to do that one time.
Oh,
Have you
that's
ever
all
caught a
the trip.
peacock?
I have not. No, sir.
Oh
No.
man, we go every year down to the Everglades.
Yeah.
You'll have to jump on with us and go
Heck
down
yeah.
there.
I've always wanted. They're so pretty. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
want to catch one of them.
Well, in the Everglades, they don't get as big as they get in Brazil, but
Yeah.
they are for pound with all the fish that I have caught, freshwater wise,
Hmm.
they are the best fighting fish. I mean, like if you could throw a like a whopper plopper
Yeah.
and just kind of, I mean, it don't even matter if you're slow reeling it, burning it, and they'll nail, or a spook or something like that.
Uh
They'll
huh.
hit that top water. It sounds like you're throwing cinder blocks down into the water. Is how
I've
hard they
seen
hit.
the. I've seen
Yeah.
some videos. I want to catch someone on top so bad. Great old big one.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we go down there every year right after ICAST. So we'll
That's cool.
we need to get
Heck yeah.
we need to get a group of people just to go down there and just make a trip out of it. So,
Yeah, that's cool. That'd be fun for sure.
but uh, with that being said, we had you. It's almost an hour and 10 minutes, brother. We don't want to keep you.
No,
We
you're
know that you're
fine.
busy and all that. But Norman, let's ask the last question, and we'll go from there, brother.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, Jack, it's been great having you on, man. It's a real pleasure being able to talk some fishing, some great fish stories with you tonight, Jack. And before we get into that last questions we ask everybody that comes on the podcast as a guest, make sure to catch us live every Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern time, same channel, whole 9 yards. Next week, we have one heck of a show coming up. We'll have Bass Pro Tour Pro Bobby Lane's going to be our guest next week.
Oh, Uncle Bob. That's
Uncle
cool.
Bob, he's going to
Yeah,
be on.
you'll have
And
to tell him.
yes, sir. But make sure to go to our website at www.decktopodcast.com where you could find, typically we have our 2 months prior schedule listed on our
Yep.
schedule. It's going to have our guest lineup for the months coming up, so you can actually see who we're going to have coming on, what our schedule is, along with a lot of other stuff. So make sure you go to our website and check it out at decktopodcast.com. But going to have a great episode next week with Bobby. But anyway, Jack, if you were to have one person on your boat that you could fish with for the day, and this person could be passed away or still with us, who would that person be, and why would you want to have him on the boat to fish with for the day?
My dad, 100%. Every day, I don't get to fish
Awesome.
with him as much anymore, having this life that I'm living now. But
Yeah,
every day, I wish he could come with me. So
Yeah.
awesome.
no doubt.
So, man, Jack, thank you so much for coming on, brother.
Yes, sir.
And,
I appreciate y'all so much.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick, if people are, I know you said something that you're not really on the social media as much as you would want to
Should
and
be.
need to be.
Yeah.
But how can people follow you along your fishing career?
Jack Daniel Fishing on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm gonna try to start doing some more videos on YouTube. So informational videos that'll help.
And so, what is your guide service? So, what is it going to be? Is it going to be Jack Daniel's Fishing?
It'll be Jack Daniel Fishing. Yep. No S, just Daniel.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. I know you're fine.
And a little helpful hint too, Jack. And you said you need to start doing more social media, more Facebook stuff like that. But
yeah.
I will tell you, once you get your captain's license and start guiding full time or putting the guide service out there, get on that social media, get on that Facebook. It's a great advertising, doesn't cost you anything, and believe me, it works too.
Heck yeah.
And a little plug for what here about 2.5 years ago, I started a page called USA Guide Fishing List, and so this is you can just go on Facebook and just join it. It is, I mean, it's a private group because we started having a bunch of spam, but we have over 200. Last time I counted, it was like 260 guides
from over 30 states. Yeah,
in 38 states. Yeah. So,
what'd you say it was? US Guide what now?
USA Guide Fishing List.
Yeah.
And so, but you can, once you get started, just post on it to where people will know that you're doing, and then because people will ask on there, like saying, "Hey, I'm coming to Tennessee. Is there a guide?" And that's what I wanted it to be, is just to where a one-stop shop kind of deal to where people can ask. And
that's cool. I found it. Yeah.
And so, so for everybody that's that may be looking for a guide, if you're going on vacation or going out of town and you want to go hit a lake and stuff, go check that out. And Jack's going to hopefully be on there posting some pictures and stuff, and make sure you reach out to him. And I mean, because just the knowledge and stuff that he has, I mean, it's just phenomenal. We love talking to him, and to be able to have that one-on-one time, especially learning about the units and forward-facing sonar, is by far probably the best schooling that you're going to be able to get, guys. So go check him out. And thanks for watching, and hope you have a blessed day, and we'll see you out on the water, guys.
Live the passion and tight lines.
See you.